Thank you for tuning in. In front of me, I have a 2021 BMW X2 in black sapphire metallic. And I'll do a quick walk around just to highlight the exterior, interior, trunk space, some of the tech, and the engine. So let's take a look at the exterior, starting off with the front end. And looking at the front end, you have these nice kidney grills with chrome accent that goes around. And standard on this vehicle in Canada is the LED headlights. And you have that horizontal Corona light, so they kind of moved away from the old style. But it's a very nice, clean setup. It also includes, if we look a little bit close there, the cornering lights as well, so it illuminates that area as you're making the turn. Looking a little bit further down, you have the front sensors. Again, this is going to help when you're parking close to in front or reverse. And you can see the radiator across the bottom. This specific vehicle does not have the M package, so you're not going to have that huge mouth that the M package gives you, but it still looks fairly aggressive. And if we just take a look at the hood as well, you'll see the lines pop out on this black sapphire metallic. Very clean look. So one of the ways this differentiates from its little brother, the X1, is 19-inch rims are standard on this vehicle. You do have the option, if you get the M Sport package, to add 21-inch rims. 20-inch rims. However, 19, 20, they're both on run flat tires. So if that's something that you don't like, you'll have to order another set of tires. You'll see this plastic trim going around. Gives it that more aggressive look as well. And just helps protect the body of the vehicle. There's your turn signals built in. And then you got the chrome that goes right around the windows. And right here, so you normally don't see BMWs have that BMW logo on the sides of the vehicle. It's actually a tribute to the BMW M1 and the Z8. And you know what, first time buyers or anybody who wants to say, hey, I'm driving a BMW, that's obviously going to help. Let's walk in a little bit more. There's your panoramic sunroof. Big opening, and we'll take a look at the inside on how big the opening is. You have your shark antenna as well, so that helps with the satellite radio and the reception. All right. So this is where it really differentiates from the BMW X1. Just looking at the back, obviously the rear taillights are designed a little bit different. You have that LED taillight down there as well, which if you slam the brake, it's going to turn on the hazard lights, obviously just to warn people behind you. You have dual exhaust on both sides, gives it that aggressive look. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the side a little bit. You're going to notice here a little bit of the design language from the X4 and the X6, where it gives you that coupe-like dynamic. Somebody who's buying a car like this is really going to buy something that a little bit, it stands out. It's a little bit different and you don't normally see too much on the market. One of the questions you're going to ask is, where's the rear view camera? So instead of having it traditionally here, it has it a little bit lower. So hidden away, it's for most people who don't have a BMW, it'd probably take them a second to find out where it is. This specific vehicle is a 28i, so that is the 228 horsepower option, and it has X-Drive, which is standard in Canada. The second thing you want to look for is how to open the tailgate. So this BMW logo pops open like that. I kind of wish they did what the Volkswagen Golf did, which was integrate the rear view camera into that tailgate. It keeps it clean all the time, but it is what it is. All right, so let's take a look at the trunk. This is, again, one of the big differentiators compared to its little brother, the X1. So when you have the seats up, you have about 21 cubic feet compared to about 27, 28 on the X1. So space is going to be a little bit smaller. Again, this vehicle, I would say, is more designed for someone who doesn't have infants or newborns, or doesn't need that space in the trunk for car strollers or car seats or anything like that. Right, clean setup. You have your hooks back here. If you go grocery shopping, you can put your bags up there. You have 3 different anchors for 3 car seats. You got some anchors across the bottom to strap down your items. Your light in the back, 12-volt outlet, and then you have a little net down there with the wheel locks. If we look below, Because this vehicle doesn't have regular tires and it's run flat tires, you don't need to put a spare back here, so that gives you a little bit more space below if you're keeping your items protected. Again, you have that tonneau cover above, so it helps keep your items protected. And just coming off to the side, because it has that coupe-like dynamic, if you're stacking stuff up in the trunk, it's going to be a little bit less space compared to the X1, so keep that in mind when you're looking at a vehicle like this. All right, just give a nice view on the side. So this is where your gas cap is, similar to the rest of the BMW lineup. Push to open, and you want to make sure that vehicle is unlocked. It does take 91 fuel, so just remember that when you're using the vehicle. And there's your cap system there. Zooming back out. So what we're going to do is let's take a look at the engine and go over some of the specs. All right, so taking a look at the engine bay, this is the 28i configuration. It is a 4-cylinder 2.0 turbo motor. It's about 220 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque with 91 fuel. You do have the option of getting a 35 model, which again still is a 4-cylinder motor, but it gives you about 302 horsepower, 331 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, you save about like a second and a half. You go from like 6.5 seconds to 4.9. In fuel economy, you don't take a huge hit. It's almost the same, and obviously depending on your foot, you could probably eke out the same mileage regardless of engine. So really it comes down to if you want that extra performance and you're willing to pay the extra money for it. Again, 8-speed transmission and uses 91 gas. Everything is pretty neatly identified here. You have your terminal for your battery, and you have your washer fluid slot there. All right, let's go take a look at the interior. We'll start off with the rear seat and take a look at the space. So coming to the back, we're going to open up the rear door. One of the things you'll notice here is the opening here. So it's going to be a little bit more sloped. We'll take a look at the headroom as well. Looking at the side, you got that brushed aluminum trim, again very clean setup, and then below you have your ambient lighting as well, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. I'm gonna hop in the seat. So myself being about 6'2", and I have that front seat adjusted for my height, I still have a decent amount of space. Again, it really comes down to if you're gonna have a lot of passengers in the back or not, which is gonna basically be your choice between the X1 and X2. You got some vents towards the bottom, USB-C. Everything's kind of going that direction, so it's good to have that. Lighting across the bottom, you have a couple storage nets there. And you also have the latch system, so I was going to touch upon that. So if you're hooking up a base to a car seat, it's very easy. You don't have to dig through seats. Let's bring this down. There's your setup over here. And there's your cup holder over there as well, so pretty convenient. Close that there, and you got your lighting. And you'll notice here, standard is the anthracite roof trim, so it's going to be all blacked out, no need for gray. Gives that sporty appearance. We talked about the panoramic sunroof, so it does come back quite a bit compared to the rear seat. Front panel moves up, or moves back towards me. And that's the front seat over there. So nice cockpit. We're actually going to move forward and take a look at that front. So let's make our way up there. So making our way to the front, I'm just going to show off the driver's door first. And then we're getting that brushed aluminum trim, power windows, adjustable side mirrors as well. And then you got your trunk button over here. So this specific vehicle has the hi-fi sound system, so it's about 9 speakers within the cabin, about 200-ish watts of power. You do have the upgrade of adding the Harman Kardon system, which is about 16 speakers, but gives you that 600 pound-feet or 600 watts of power. So if you're an audiophile, I highly recommend that. Automatic headlights, there's your fog light button down there. Towards the bottom, you have your heated steering wheel and you have your adjuster as well. So just knock that latch down and you can go tilt telescopic up, down, in and out for your steering wheel. Click twice to open. And again, there's no latches or anything. You just lift the hood. If I take a seat inside, there's the cockpit there. Nice welcoming setup. So let's turn the vehicle on and show you the back of the speedometer. Foot on the brake, your start button's just to the side over here. Nice quiet startup as well. One of the things I like about this vehicle is it sticks towards the traditional gauge setup. So it still has a digital screen when it lights up, but it really gives homage to the older BMWs. I personally like it versus the new system. I like tradition. BC button allows you to change the information that's directly in front of you. You can see your fuel economy, for example. One of the things I like is they programmed the digital speedometer there. So older BMWs didn't have that, newer ones do. And looking at the steering wheel, this is your traditional standard steering wheel. You do have an M Sport, which again will be a little bit thinner, but give you a larger bolster as well. You have your cruise control functionality on the left side. On the right side, you have a lot of your audio. You have your picking up your phone and your voice communication as well. There's your wipers there, front, rear, standard stuff in the vehicle. So this vehicle has programmable buttons. The cool thing about this is when you program the buttons, you can have either your phone number programmed, navigation setting program, or a radio station. And it doesn't matter what order you do, so you can have them mixed and match. When I had my BMW, I found that very convenient and quick shortcuts as well. You get your mode and band buttons, so you can switch different channels, and you have your seek button as well, so you can change your tracks. This vehicle does have heated seats across the front. Got all your defrost buttons on the side, automatic air, and if I turn this on, your sync button, dual zone climate control. Pretty standard stuff across the vehicle. We got the 8-speed transmission, so it's a nice transmission. I'll put my foot on the brake, put it down, put it into sport mode, and you can start rolling your own gears. When you're done, just press that button there. We can turn off our traction control up here. Over here, you actually have 3 different drive mode settings. So your standard setting is comfort, which is kind of the best of both worlds. You can put it in Eco Pro if you're looking to save on fuel, or you can put it in sport mode if you want to hold the acceleration a little bit longer, hold the RPMs a little bit longer, tighten up the steering wheel, if you're curving the back corners. So different settings depending on how you're driving. I press this button over here. You're going to see those sensors up there. So you have the option of either having the sensors come up, or if I put the vehicle in reverse, you got that backup camera. And one of the good things BMW does is their camera is high definition, so it's a really clear and concise camera. And if I go to the side, you can add parking lines, obstacles. So as you get closer to an obstacle, boxes will pull up. And obviously the closer you get, the louder the beep will be. Okay, I'm going to put it back in park. This does have the electronic handbrake. So lift and you'll hear it set. Put your foot on the brake, push it down, and you're finished with that. This vehicle does have iDrive 6, so it's an 8.8-inch screen. So you either have the controls there or you have your controls here. Most BMW drivers or people might think that, hey, I need touchscreen. Once you drive this for a few days, I promise you'll end up using this a lot more than touching that screen. You got your dial here, a couple of shortcuts across the top, and your back and option button. But if we look here, I'm not going to go too much into depth, but you have navigation standard on the vehicle. So you can enter your address, open up your maps. Pretty clear, very clear actually, maps here, and you see points of interest like gas stations pull up. Go back. You have satellite radio. You got satellite radio, AM, FM. One thing to note, with the iDrive 6, if you have an Apple phone, great, you have Apple CarPlay. But if you have an Android, a Samsung, Google, one of those phones, you need a BMW with iDrive 7 in order to get Android Auto. So unfortunately, this vehicle will not have it. There's your dome lights over here with your switches, SOS button. This button over here controls your panoramic sunroof, and you got your little speakers up there as well. And there's some of the trim over here. So the one thing I'll touch upon is standard on this vehicle is leatherette seats. So you'll notice here that compared to a lot of other BMWs, you don't have that real huge bolster here. You have a little bit of bolster there, but you have the option of either getting leatherette as your standard option, or you can upgrade to sport seats, which basically give you a more booster here, more of a boost here, and just kind of a softer leather. Again, really personal preference at the end of the day. Leatherette does last a little bit longer and doesn't require as much maintenance, so keep that in mind when you're shopping. You have your armrest or your arm box there. This does have the wireless charger. I have one of the iPhone 12 Pro Maxes, which does not fit in here, so keep that in mind when you're optioning out the wireless charger. A bunch of my camera equipment here, but this is also adjustable as well, so you can lock it in. And finally, your glove box, which is fairly deep as well. So that's your storage in the vehicle there. Here's your trunk again, or your back seat space, sorry. Again, at the end of the day, it really comes down to what your purpose is when you compare this to an X1. If you're looking more for all-around family vehicle, I would probably recommend the X1. If you're, a single person, couple, and don't really haul a lot of stuff, X2 really stands out, and the price difference is really small compared to the X1. So let me know what you think of the video. I enjoy making these things, so leave a quick comment or a like, and let me know if you have any requests. Thank you very much.